All right, welcome back. So we're doing good. We've got our rounds are completely functional. So the buttons on the die started off functional, and then we added the functionality for roll again and stop. Right now, when you hit stop, it just kind of refreshes the round, but it doesn't actually update the score or the round. So we're going to add those features right now. So let's go ahead and open up the Dice game controller. So this one is our cheater, right? So this one is going to be the one that it is a controller, but it's actually got the model objects right inside of it, right? So it turns out that keeping score and keeping round are pretty simple, just two variables, and we're just going to stick them right inside the controller. To be honest, things like that happen all the time, no big deal. So this is Rolls Holman, Dice with Friends, or sorry, Dice without Friends, Dice game controller. So what we need to do is we need to make a function that's going to do this guy. The function is going to serve as the constructor. It's going to take no parameters this time, so we're just going to receive nothing. So you're just going to make it. And then our model objects is going to be rounds complete, which I'm going to set initially to 0, and then also total score, and I'm going to set that one initially to 0 as well. And then I'll add some blank lines just because we've got more coming. All right, so at this point we've got a Dice game controller. And so what we need to do is we need to go back into main. You can remember where we were temporarily loading up just the round. Well, we can blow that away now. And what we're going to start doing is we're going to start bringing in a Dice game controller. So you can save that up. By the way, if you go visit your website now, we've made it kind of worse again because right now we've removed the Dice round controller, so we're gonna have to add that back. So we got variables for these guys, but they're not really doing anything yet. So we're gonna have to put some more code in before this actually becomes useful. So one of the first things we've got to do is we've got to make that Dice round controller. And the Dice round controller, it actually expects to receive a parameter which is a function. So we're going to go ahead and pass that in. And the function that it's expecting is actually a function which receives a parameter back called the round score. So let's just go ahead and just kind of as a test, we'll just do a console.log, got the score of, and then we'll just print out round score. And then we'll see a little bit more about how this magic works. So the way this magic works is we're creating this thing, we're passing in a function. This function, we can see we're expecting to receive something back, and we're going to display it. Let's go look at the round controller and review a little bit what's going on here. So whoever creates this object should pass something into the constructor. The constructor just saves it off, and then it was called down here, right? So if there was a Dice round controller, call it, or sorry, a Dice completion handler, call it, and pass it the score. Ooh, I made a typo when I typed that. Get round score is a function call. So get round score is a function call. That would have never worked. I'm glad I got that. So let's go try to run it now. And what should happen is we should get all of our old functionality back, and we should get these log messages whenever we click the stop button. So let's see if all those things actually happen. So I do a refresh, so you can see all my things are at 1. And as soon as I do my refresh, you can see I've got my controller back. And so I put a couple in. I can say roll again. And if I say stop, what will happen is if I go check my logs, I should hopefully have a log in here that says got the score of 300. And if you did it again, so I'll just say stop. So I got a score of 600. So you can see that connection is now made, and the callback is working its way back to the parent, which is kind of neat. So really what we want to do is, of course, we want to actually not print logs, but we want to do things like updating scores and whatnot. And so I'll kind of do it wrong at first. So we want to say like total score is equal to total score plus round score. So that'd be something we would do. The word this, we warned you about it last time. Inside of the other function, this has an opportunity to change. And in fact, it does change. It changes to the person that fired the event, which is the Dice round controller. So we're going to do the same thing that we've done, many times. We're just going to save off a variable with the same name as the class name, except for lowercase. and say that that is equal to this. And then instead of actually just like doing all the code in here, I'm actually just going to call another function, right? So I'm going to say DiceGameController, call the function handle round complete. So that function obviously doesn't exist yet, so we're going to have to go write it. And since it's a method, it's going to go on the prototype. And so it's called handle round complete. And then what I'm going to choose to do is I'm going to pass the round score into it, right? So it's equal to a function. The syntax here I know is crazy. So we're going to pass in the score into here. So the nice thing about this is if I call this function in this way, then inside of this other function, this is going to be fixed, right? Because we're calling it on the dice game controller, which is the this that you're expecting. So we can say total score is total score plus that. We can also say rounds complete plus plus. Once we've actually got those things, what we need to do is we need to set them on the UI. So we're going to be using some jQuery here. And we're going to go looking for elements that we can set text on. So let's just go and open up the HTML. Oops, going to have to open it with text editor. Open with text editor, or HTML editor. And if you look around in this guy, you can find total score. He's actually got an ID on him called score. And then the round has an ID called round. So those are actually pretty easy. So what we're going to do is we're just going to say, look for the ID of score and set its text to be equal to this dot total score. So happy I can just say the word this again. And so then rounds, we're just going to set him to the text of this dot rounds complete plus 1. The reason I choose to do a plus 1 is just because I think that's what the users will want to see. They want to see like what round they're currently playing, and the round they're currently playing is one greater than the number of rounds they've completed. All right, so with these additions, we should see a lot of fun features kind of show up. So if we refresh this, what should happen is we should be able to put up numbers here, and if I say stop, this 200 should fire up into the total score, and it did, which is great. And so if you add a couple more things, I'm going to stop there, up to 500 round 3. If you go bust because you're just too aggressive, oh man, look at that. I keep making it around the horn. Going again with 1800, going again with 1900, I bust. So if I hit next turn here, you can see that round should go up to 4, but total score stays at 500 because I was a little bit too greedy. So a lot of new functionality, should be great. One thing that we're going to add as an additional feature is when the game is over, so once you've got more than 10K, we want to hide this round area, right? So the round area shouldn't be there when the game is over. So let's go add some code to check for game over. So what we're going to do is we're just going to say if this dot total score is greater than 10K, then we know that the game is over. If the game is not over, then move on to the next round. It actually turns out that this showing of the next round, we want to only do that if the game is not over. The other thing I'm going to do is for testing, it's kind of annoying to go to 10,000, so we're just going to go to 500. Make sure you remember to put that back to 10,000. Also, if you wanted to be a good programmer, you'd make that as a constant, but I'm just going to throw it right in the code right now because we're trying to focus on other things. All right, so if the game is over, what we want to do is we want to hide that playing area like altogether. If you come down in here and you look around for that playing area, it's got a class of game table. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for a game table inside this guy. So we're going to say $.game table. And what we're going to do is we're just going to set the HTML on him. So we're just going to blow away whatever was there before and just write some new stuff in. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to put an H1 tag. And then inside the game 1, we're just going to say, you finished in this dot rounds complete rounds. And then I have to close up my H1. And then close my quotes and make sure I've got a semicolon on the end. And that kind of rolled onto multiple lines, but that's okay. So you finished in blank rounds. Note that I didn't bother check for if it was one round, because really if you're playing at 10,000, you should never be able to finish in just one round, right? So all right, this is looking pretty good. Let's go do some testing with this guy now. So whenever we get to 500, it should hide that whole area. So if I just refresh, so I'll just go ahead and get a 100 on this round. I get some low scores intentionally. 150 there, and then 350 more, I should finish in round 3. So if I say stop, it says you finished in 3 rounds. Good for me. By hiding it, you kind of force them to click another button. So I'm presuming that they're going to hit the new game button, and then when they hit new game, it refreshes the page, which starts you all over again. If you did 500 in one turn, oh, actually, I've got it to where you have to get over 500. I should fix that. Then you finished in 2 rounds. I'm going to change it to where it's less than or greater than or equal to 500. Little typo there. All right, so pretty happy with this game. We're going to call this video quits right here. We have a fully functional game. The only thing we're missing is that fastest finish feature, and we'll do that next time. All right, see you then. Bye.